the end of last year when I talked to him, I joked with him. I said, you played in Iowa, Green Bay, and Buffalo. Don't you like to be where it's warm? He's like, I always said that like to my agent and everybody. Why can't I be where it's warm? The dude missed the snow.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Emergency podcast time. Mike Catalana, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Mike, let's get into it. Sean McDermott and the Bills announcing on Wednesday, Micah Hyde has been signed to the practice squad. Your thoughts?
I'm not stunned. I'm a little surprised because of the way the season has gone and the way this team has played. But when Sean explains it, and he was pretty clear in the way he explained it, what Micah's role now, practice squad, coming in, I've got confidence in the other guys, all those things. I understand it more. Let's see how it plays out as he get him on the field.
And I think McDermott really honestly downplayed what we kind of were thinking because he said, I want to make it very clear. Someone was asked, what are your expectations of Micah in this role? And he said, very little.
Yeah,
and
he's right. He said, not to be disrespectful, I think he said, but very little, which was an odd way to phrase that because you're talking about Micah Hyde.
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying.
I agree. I think he also went on to say it's, he's here now. Let's take it one day at a time. Because I do think for a lot of people, you think about where this team is at. There's so many new faces coming into this season. The team is, 10-2? Like, that locker room is very important. The dynamics within that very important. But I think McDermott did a good job of setting it up as, yes, we're bringing in Micah Hyde, but we still expect for DeMar and Taylor to have the roles that they have held on to so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, Micah Hyde's not going to hurt your team in any way. It's great to have him on the roster. They talk about depth, right? You've got a rookie as your third safety right now.
Yeah.
DeMar gets a lot of criticism from people. I don't know where he would rank in terms of what Micah Hyde's play was last year or the year before, right? When you look at it, it's Micah Hyde's an all-time Buffalo Bills player.
Yeah.
But DeMar's been pretty good. And maybe not that he needs to be replaced, but I would also keep this in mind. The NFL, as we say, is a meritocracy.
Yeah.
The best players play. Micah's going to show where he is right now. He's going to be out at practice. At some point, I think he gets elevated to play in a game so they can get him on the field. And at some point, if they believe Micah Hyde's one of the two best safeties, Micah Hyde's going to play in the games. That's the way it goes. But I do like, because there was no workout for Micah.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't say, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not old. He's like your age. He can physically go out and play, but he's got to get ramped up.
Yeah.
You know what this team's been through from August to now. He's got to get ramped up and get himself ready. But at a point, I think he's going to play for this team.
I think, yes. Right now, do I expect him to be in the lineup? No. And McDermott essentially said as much as that. But you're right. This is a meritocracy. So if Micah Hyde becomes a player that you think, okay, he can be better than what's out on the field, that is what we will see because that's how things work in the NFL. But I think it was smart of McDermott to say, yes, we're bringing him back. It's the practice squad. We want to see where he's at. We also want to see, what this will lead to and if it will lead to anything, as opposed to saying, he's our guy, he's coming in, all this stuff. So I think it was smart of him to kind of respectfully downplay what Micah can add on the field because the expectation is this team will have to see where he is at, and that's fair. But you get Micah Hyde back, a guy that is a tremendous veteran and has the leadership skills and kind of the pedigree to be an immediate impact, whether it's on the field or in the locker room.
Yeah, and they don't have another safety in that way. Cole Bishop, like I said, is a rookie. He's shown some flashes, but do you really want to depend on Cole Bishop in a big spot in the playoffs against the Chiefs or the Steelers or whoever they're playing? No. And so to have him, look, there's not a lot of guys like Micah Hyde sitting at home watching on TV.
Yeah.
It is kind of fascinating that this is the way it ended up happening, right? Because we thought maybe at the end of camp and then maybe during the year or maybe if somebody got hurt. Now, listen, Mike Edwards was a bust. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
He was that veteran player. He's not Micah Hyde, but he was that veteran player. He didn't amount to really anything with this team, and he was gone. So they really don't have that guy, but it's still that. It'll be really something to see how I mean, DeMar's been around Micah a lot.
Yeah.
And, Taylor Rapp got to be with him last year. So they know this guy. They know his thoughts of the way he is in the locker room and all those things. I think Micah is a very self-aware guy. He will walk in like who he is, which is a practice squad for now, backup safety, and then let's see where it goes.
Full disclosure, I did not think that they would make this move. I thought that at some point the possibility of it happening would have been earlier on in the season. In my head, it was kind of like a before Thanksgiving type of move, but obviously with where they're at and where they are at in the season, they decided to do this now. So we were driving up in the car and I was like, I just don't know if I like it. Like, Micah is such an incredible player, but a locker room is a very fickle place, and it's a dynamic, and it's sometimes if you offset the dynamic, it can not lead to great things. But hearing McDermott talk and then kind of settling into the idea of he is a practice squad player for right now, and you just see where he is at, I think it's the way to bring in Micah without disrupting what has kind of been the ecosystem of this locker room so far this season.
It's a great way to explain it, and it's funny. Sometimes it's like the locker room's a little frazzled, and what's this guy going to mean? This has been the most peaceful, coordinated year.
Cohesive.
Everything is working for them. I don't think Micah Hyde is the kind of guy that disrupts and comes walking in. He's not that kind of guy. But he also is a player who has been a starter and a star for this team when he's been here. So it's a different role for him. But he's also been sitting on his couch. Well, he's probably working out. But he's been sitting on his couch for months, and now he's here. So we hopefully, and we will update stuff later, we hopefully will get a chance to talk to Micah, practice squad player Micah Hyde.
I can see them being like, he's a practice squad player, you can't talk to him.
Yeah, the Bills say stuff like that. It's Micah Hyde.
I'm
You
sure
brought
they'll
him back.
talk.
It was funny the way Sean did. Injuries, this and the other. Oh, and by the way, we brought this Micah Hyde guy in to be on the practice squad.
It did crack me up when they're like, he kind of was like, oh, yes, and Micah Hyde is returning.
So real quick, at the end of last year when I talked to him, I joked with him. I said, you played in Iowa, Green Bay, and Buffalo. Don't you like to be where it's warm? He's like, I always said that to my agent and everybody. Why can't I be where it's warm? The dude missed the snow. He's out in San Diego. How nice can San Diego be, right?
Oh, it's in December. Who would want to be there?
And so now he's, maybe he came back because they play in L.A. in a dome the next 2 weeks. But I don't know when we'll see him on the field. But I think if you want Micah Hyde to be part of this team and the potential, at some point they're going to elevate him. At some point you'll see 23, a number they never gave to anybody else, and a locker they never changed. It's still sitting there for him. Micah Hyde is back.
All right, Bills fans, we want to hear from you as well. Drop in the comment section how you're feeling about Micah Hyde returning to the team at this point in a practice squad role, but whatever, Micah Hyde is back with the Bills. All right, that is the end of our emergency podcast. Thank you so much. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, who is still on Papa Duty, I am Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much for watching Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.